Welcome to the PaynePoints Podcast. We enjoy telling the stories of everyday people, whether that be small business owners, entrepreneurs, or people with a passion for their community. We want to highlight them and give them a platform to share their story. So grab your favorite beverage and join us on today's episode where we tell the story of someone just like you. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Sarah Harbuck, and joining me in the co-host seat is our producer, Megan Harbuck.
Good morning.
Our special guests today are Jakob and Isaak Cuevas.
Yep,
Did I say that correct? Okay. Thanks, guys, for joining us today and being some guinea pigs with our non-mic stand mics. This is fun, holding it. I feel very important, like I'm a weather forecaster.
Yes. We're testing some new things out to see if we can get our audio sounding better.
Or just, so I can actually see the guests
Yes,
over all
that's a big issue we've
the
had.
things here. We'll have to post a behind-the-scenes picture of
Definitely.
what we used to have and what we're doing now and let people kind of go, oh, yeah, I can see your faces, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get the masks on still, but
True.
guys, thanks so much for coming in and talking with us today. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. You guys have a business in Nacogdoches called Bubbles and Ducktails. So your family runs this business. So tell us a little bit about your family before we really get into the nitty-gritty about the work stuff.
All right. So our family is pretty closely knit. I think we do a lot together. We always spend spring breaks camping and whatnot.
Nice.
And we're always, having, discussions with one another and just playing board games and stuff like that.
I think
so
that's
we're really
great.
That's
close.
awesome.
Yeah. Close-knit families is,
Mhm.
not always the norm. So that's great when that happens. And to be in business together adds a different layer of challenges.
As our longtime listeners will know,
Yeah.
Sarah and I are mother and daughter.
Right.
And we work together with our family. So we totally understand that, being close-knit and working together.
So did you guys just decide one day, you love each other so much, let's just start this, let's start a business together? Or how did that come about?
Well, it was primarily my dad's idea. He wanted to bring up a challenge, so he says it's mostly for us, the kids, the siblings, for us to grow and learn about the real world and understand how to start and run a business. And yeah, that's about it.
I mean, that's, I think, my husband's philosophy as well. He put all of our
Definitely.
children to work pretty early on and learn how the world works, because this is how it is, and it's kind of tough out there. And if you can do it in a family environment, it'll be a little easier. Are you guys from the Nacogdoches area, or?
Yes, ma'am.
So you
Yeah,
grew
both
up-
of us born and raised.
Born and raised.
Born and
Right.
raised, Texans.
Not here in Lufkin, but in that.
Yeah, in Nacogdoches.
Awesome.
Yeah. I lived in Nacogdoches for a little while back in the day. Don't tell anyone for Lufkin.
Go
though.
Dragons.
I went to middle school there. So there's your parents, and then there's 3 siblings, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the age order?
Okay, so my sister is the oldest, and she's currently 21.
Okay.
She's working now, so she's not with us in NAC. Then it's me. I'm 18, and I'm going to college this fall at
Nice.
A&M.
Very good.
And then
Awesome.
it's
Congratulations.
Isaac's the baby. He's 16.
So you'll be stuck running the whole show when everybody's gone, right?
I'm also going to college this fall,
Oh,
so
wow.
Oh, wow.
I'm also
Yeah.
leaving.
Oh,
and it's
goodness.
all onto the
You
shoulders
guys are like
of my parents.
overachievers, no kidding.
And I think that they are our youngest guests so far on the
Yes,
podcast.
youngest business owners. I thought that was Zach, but I think you guys have beat him by a couple of years.
Exactly.
Because he's 20.
He's my age, 21.
21?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah. See, this
Congratulations.
is
Yeah,
the
first
future
for
of
everything,
America
right?
and the workforce and businesses. So you guys grew up very close, camping and hanging out. What's y'all's favorite family activity that y'all do?
I really liked camping,
Yeah.
camping, being out there in the wilderness. Nowadays I see a lot of people camp in the RVs and stuff, but every time we would just do the traditional camping,
Yeah.
which I think really brings us together since we have to cook all our food, we have to clean it all together. We're all in a very small tent or a few small tents, and it just brings
It's definitely
this
a
closeness.
bonding exercise, that's for sure. You really learn a
Absolutely.
lot about a person when you spend it roughing it
Mhm.
in the wilderness. Where's y'all's favorite camping spot?
Big Bend.
Yeah,
Big Bend.
that's real
Ranch.
popular.
Yeah, that one. There's really no service out there, at least where we were in the park.
Yeah.
And so, kind of the
Disconnect.
best thing is either A, you're staring off to the distance, like mindlessly,
In the wilderness.
and just enjoying the view, or B, you have to talk to someone,
Yeah.
and your family's the only people close to you. So.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
We don't really camp as a family.
We
It's
do
not
go
really-
on trips though.
We do go on trips, but we're not big campers. If I'm gonna camp, I would prefer. I do it exactly opposite, and I prefer the RV situation, just because I like a comfortable bed. Some say I can be high maintenance that way, but yeah, I think that's fun.
I'm curious actually. So y'all are very close knit. Bubbles and Ducktails got started about a year ago?
Yes, actually, during the pandemic, I mean, we were starting the ideas and stuff, and really, we were camping in spring break, and my dad came to us, and he asked us, "Hey, I have a business idea. I want to create a restaurant, but, what do you guys want to do?" And, my brother and sister, during our visit to Las Vegas, because our cousins live in Nevada, they went to a bubble tea shop. And so they told my dad, "Hey, let's do boba tea and Nac." And so that's kind of how we got started with things. And then, boom, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
It's a great time to start a business, actually. Really can see what people, I mean, especially something that's food based, like your business is, drinks and desserts and foods. I thought it was just boba tea, but I did a little research, and you guys have, quite a menu offering.
I've actually been a couple of times, and I've enjoyed it all the times that I've gone. The employees there, I don't believe I've seen y'all there, the times I've visited, but I've always enjoyed the atmosphere and the experience.
Well,
I'm
food,
really
people
glad.
always want food, right? And so you have this pandemic that starts, and then, if you're partnered with one of the delivery services, whoever thought in East Texas we'd have people bringing food to our door other than a pizza delivery, but that's now the norm. And so in a way, I'm sure that was very challenging starting a business during this like global health crisis. What were some of the things you guys had to kind of do that weren't maybe part of the norm of starting a business during something like that? Was there anything you guys considered
Well,
different?
so since most people, they didn't, so the mandate, it only allowed 30% to 50% maximum occupancy in the restaurant.
Sure.
So having a drive-through would have been really beneficial for us. But if you've ever been there to Bubbles and Ducktails, we don't have a drive-through. So it was really hard, and we were struggling within the first 6 months.
Yeah.
That's why we had to introduce so many foods and bring a bit more diversity to our menu rather than just having drinks, which, unless you're Starbucks, people don't go to just a restaurant just for drinks. They
True.
need some substantial food.
So the fact that you saw that was going to be a thing that was going to prevent you guys from being successful, you immediately go, okay, let's change what we had initially planned. The location you guys are at, if I'm not mistaken, is over there across from where they're building the new Griffith Theater building on the SFA campus, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It used to be back when I was in college, which was a long time ago, it used to be a bike shop like a million years ago. And like they sold bicycles, like professional, like.
It was still a bike shop up until 2 years
Oh,
ago.
really?
I
was.
want to
Yeah.
say 4 at least.
I haven't paid attention every time I've been to NAC, so I
But-
don't know.
That sounds right though. About 4 years
That's
ago.
crazy. So yeah, and not really a drive-through location, so that can be kind of a bummer. But like I said, these days you've got DoorDash and Uber Eats and all these different delivery services that can kind of. You guys are partnered with them, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe that, I mean, in Nacogdoches, that's really a place where people walk around a lot. I mean, I certainly did. And so I think that y'all also have that on your side, is that Nacogdoches is very, like, close
What's
together, I
literally
guess?
like right there next to campus. Do you guys have a lot of
Exactly.
college students come over?
That
and-
was a saving grace during that first 6 months, was when the college students came back, and when they're just walking around, they see wow, boba, only place I've seen that is in Houston. So
Yeah.
having that in Nac made it, gave it success.
And there's a lot of, for people who
kept it
don't
up.
know, there's a lot of kids that come up from Houston to go to school at SFA.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's away from home. So, having that little bit of culture, something different that's not just a typical burger joint, they offer different types of drinks and chicken wings and sandwiches and
Mozzarella sticks?
Yeah, I
I'm
thought I
pretty
saw
sure.
dessert on the menu too, like ice creams or frozen yogurt type things. So yeah, I think that's great that you guys like pivoted so quickly. Like, okay, this is gonna be
Especially during the
challenging.
pandemic.
Yeah, like you start a business on the pandemic and then you realize right away, well, we might need to expand our offerings. Did you guys have money saved? So, like, did your family have money saved and that's how they started the business? Or did y'all get like a small business loan? Or
If
how
you'd
did y'all-
like to divulge,
Yeah,
of
I mean, you don't have to
course.
go into too many details, but
It was mostly through loans. My dad took a couple loans, and he also did have some money saved. And so through that, we were able to get supplies and things that we needed. But I also think that we had a lot of the refrigerator equipment from the last business that was there, Knuckle Sandwich. And so that kind of made it easier too. We didn't have to take too many loans.
that's good.
So I'm curious because I've noticed in the last year being on TikTok that boba tea has really blown up. People are sharing on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, like going and getting bubble tea. So have you noticed an increase in popularity in the last 6 months since having the business, that there's been an increase in interest?
Well, considering that we really only started blowing up or getting to this level of income when it started blowing up. So, because we didn't start before the pandemic, so we don't have anything to compare it to.
Sure, of course.
So I wouldn't really know
Okay.
if it really helped.
Yeah, I was just curious because I've noticed that being like a huge thing recently. And shocker, this is going to sound crazy. I don't actually like a lot of bubble tea personally, but I know how popular it is, and almost every single one of my friends is a huge fan of it. So it was good that y'all brought it to this area because I don't really think that there may be one place in Lufkin that does it. But in Lufkin and Nacogdoches, if you think about those two areas, two places having bubble tea, it's
Servicing
you're
100,000
definitely
people. Yeah.
It's different from like in Houston. You could just walk around the block and then boom.
It's like a
Kung
Starbucks.
Fu tea,
Yeah.
Starbucks, or any kind of drink.
I wanted to ask, your name for your business is so unique. When I first heard Megan mention it, she was like, "Oh, we went to Bubbles and Ducktails," and I was like, "Is that a children's boutique? What is that? Tell me about that." And so, how did you guys come up with that name? Obviously, Bubbles and boba tea, kind of, but Ducktails, that kind of threw me for a loop. So tell me about the business name. Where did that originate?
Do you want?
So with the bubbles part, that one we got from boba tea because some people refer to it as bubble tea
Yeah.
because of the popping circles. And then for the Ducktails part, we used to serve rolled ice cream up until October.
Oh, okay.
And we liked the name Ducktails because whenever we would roll it, it would kind of curve like a ducktail.
Mm-hmm.
And then
That's so
those
cute.
two words, they come together as a cute, like how in kindergarten teachers would tell you Bubbles and Ducktails, and you would have to blow up your mouth and put your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, little kindergartners walking around just like all
Bubbles
prim
and
princess.
Ducktails.
Yeah,
That's so cute.
It's such a happy sounding name. Like you can't help but smile when you hear it. And so somebody talking about it, like what? It's like a conversation starter in a way because it doesn't automatically like tell you exactly what it is. When you first hear it, like Bubbles and Ducktails, what could that possibly be? So I think that's cute.
Yeah, it's the intrigue factor. You don't really know what it is until
Right.
you look it up. And speaking of looking up, we actually lucked out with the name because when we were creating the website domain, there was no website, bubblesandducktails.com. So, we got it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, because
Yeah.
sometimes people will struggle with that. I remember Jordan Nevedomsky, who has White Farmhouse Baking Company. She started, and she's also from Nacogdoches. She started with a different name than what she has now and had to end up changing it. So it's very lucky that y'all had a perfect name right off the back and haven't had to change it.
Right.
So,
That's kind of hard to find these days. It seems like every domain is purchased at this point. So to find it available and not in use is kind of a short of a miracle in a way in 2020.
What kind of habits do you guys, and not just you two, Jakob and Isaak, but like your whole family, what habits do y'all have to set yourself up for success daily? You know, if you're going to be going into the shop and working, what do you do to put yourself in a positive mindset for working? I mean, being as young as y'all are, I'm sure that you also dealt with having to go to school, whether it be online or in person. So I'm curious as to how you balanced that and what you do to keep a positive energy.
I think setting aside an hour of every day that you know you're going to be doing work, it's a good mindset so that you know that this hour is set aside to do work, and then the rest of the day you can just do whatever you want. And I think that habit and the rhythm of it really helped.
Creating a schedule.
Yes.
Keeps you sane.
Yeah, for sure.
Keeps you on track too when you kind of allocate time for certain things, to do certain things. At least for me anyway. I know not everybody's my type A personality, but that works for me. Do you guys have any, when you're not in school and helping run the family business, are there any hobbies or activities you guys enjoy like doing that that you do to kind of just unwind and chill out?
We both play tennis for the high school, and we also like to play it, you know, with ourselves or with friends. And so that's a lot of activity, but it's also just really fun to just be out there with your friends and to just serve a ball so hard that, you know, no one returns it.
So a lot of physical activity, sounds like, with you guys.
So I'm actually, that brings up a good point since y'all are in school. What, you know, I'm sure y'all have friends in school and peers and whatnot. What has it been like to be such young, like, entrepreneurs, I guess? Is there anyone that you've met who's your age that wants to follow in your footsteps? Or is it kind of like, oh, y'all are like kind of an anomaly at school?
Well, we're not necessarily an anomaly because we don't really talk about it a lot.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing really to talk about it at school in particular.
We kept it under wraps, my brother and I, because, I mean, we didn't want the attention.
Sure.
I guess. And it's also the fact that we weren't sure it was going to last a year.
Yeah.
For business. I mean, you want to have that passion to do that type of restaurant, but because of the pandemic, we were telling ourselves, okay, we have to be real too, because there's going to be less people coming in because, you know, everything's closed.
I think it takes a certain amount of moxie and tenaciousness and courage to go, I'm going to start a business in the middle of a global pandemic, and then, you know, shift gears as necessary through that process to, you know, make it successful. And they say it takes 3 to 5 years to really get a business established. And I, having started several businesses, I can say that that is absolutely accurate. So, you know, you guys are a year in, and it's been a little rough, I'm sure. You know, there's been ups and downs, and it's a roller coaster ride. But I can guarantee you, if you can make those necessary changes along the way, like you guys have, it sounds like, and really market to that group, especially with the college right there, you know, in 3 to 5 years, you could see this as a really established hotspot in Nacogdoches for college kids and anybody else. It just takes some time. But the fact that you guys said, you know what, as a family, you know, let's start a business in the middle of a pandemic. This will be great. You know, I feel like that, you know, just takes a certain type of person that has that like drive that not everybody has, you know, and that's fine if you don't. You guys are very young. You are going to college. Both of you are going to college in the fall. A&M, you said, Jacob?
Yes,
and Isaak, where are you going to go?
UT Austin.
Awesome.
So just warring schools here in the state of Texas. If you don't know, A&M and UT are like two opposite planets. What do you guys, Jacob, what do you want to study when you get to A&M?
I want to major in mechanical engineering. And so what they do the first year in the engineering school is they have you go through like a basic engineering and let you choose your major the second year.
Gotcha.
Exciting. Isaak, what about you?
I'm thinking of, I wanted to major in finance at McCombs, but I'm thinking of doing economics.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
That's a great place to be in right now, especially with where or the financial situation in the country is.
Yeah, I mean, definitely having the know-how in that particular sector, I think. I mean, well, so engineering, things have got to stay structurally sound, as we've recently seen in the news. So I think those are both really great trajectories for both of you. You could use yours to start more businesses, and you could build the buildings, maybe.
Going
Exactly.
back to the previous statement you had about making a business in a pandemic, I think it was one of the best times because the government really supported making a business, since
Yes,
so many
that's a good point.
businesses were failing, that the government really wanted to help support them
Yeah.
by giving out the loans,
The PPP
by
loans.
helping the taxes, and that's why I
And the
think
stimulus.
That's a good
Doing
point,
it
and I had
during
not
the
thought of that. So
pandemic
thank you
was
for bringing that
actually
up, because that's really
a good
definitely
time.
something to consider. You know, you think it's super risky, but sometimes it's in those moments of crisis that are born out like these really great ideas or these really successful business things that happen, you know, during, you know, times of what most people would consider, you know, tragedy or struggle. And yeah, so that's a good thing. We also, as small business owners, took advantage of some of those things to help keep our employees paid during that time, and you know, as we were transitioning and navigating all the different rules and things that were changing almost constantly. So yeah, that's a good point to bring up. Megan, do you want to do our rapid fire questions?
I was
at
just
this
about
time?
to ask that.
Yes, let's go for it.
Awesome. Okay, so the rapid fire questions is a point in the podcast. It's kind of the midway where we just ask some fun questions.
Okay.
And you
sweet.
answer as fast as you can.
I'd skip that first one though.
both at the
So,
same
Yes.
time.
No.
So we'll alternate.
Yeah, there you
Perfect.
go. That sounds like a good one.
Do you want me to go first? and
You
then
go
you'll
first, you
next?
go first.
Okay. sweet.
Awesome. Great. The oldest and then the youngest. Or middle and then youngest, technically, since your sister is not here. How do you take your coffee?
Black, but I don't usually drink coffee because it makes me super, super sleepy.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Wow.
Frappe, because I like it cold and sweet.
I'm the same way. What is your favorite song right now?
My favorite song right now has got to be Valoria by the Pixies. It's a really nice song.
All right.
That's
cool.
just the one off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe Bills by Destiny's Child.
Oh my goodness. I love that.
Yes, I do too.
Are you currently watching a TV show? And if so, what show?
Currently, I'm trying to get into The Community because my cousin liked it a lot.
Okay, cool.
And he says it's nice.
Well, I was watching a few series on Netflix, but as a TV show, as everyone knows, Rick and Morty season
Yeah.
5 came back.
Awesome. I did not hear about that, but then again, I'm not super involved in that world.
She doesn't watch a lot of TV.
No, I don't. I watch a lot of anime, as our longtime listeners will know. What is your favorite book?
My favorite book has to be... Oh, no, it was this one. It was called There by Tommy Orange, I believe is the author. And it's about Native Americans in, our modern culture, modern day.
Oh,
That's
wow.
fascinating. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Well, I used to read a lot of books, so I'll name my top 3. Masterminds by Gordon Corman, 100 Years of Solitude, and, Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson.
Of course.
Yes.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Chocolate. I just really love chocolate.
Sure.
If I didn't control myself, I'd be like...
Huge, yeah.
I'm also a chocolate fan.
Strawberry.
I totally agree with you there. Strawberry is super good. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke. I'd have to go with Coke.
The classic, Coke.
Perfect. Sweet or salty? Jacob, I feel like I know your answer.
Salty.
Oh, well, I was totally wrong. I thought you'd say sweet.
I like salty.
Salty.
Okay. Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
The beach.
Zodiac sign?
Zodiac sign. That's... I believe I'm Aquarius.
Okay.
January's Aquarius, right?
The end of January, yeah.
End of January, yes.
Okay.
Leo.
Awesome. Spring, summer, fall, or winter?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Spring. I love the spring because it's like the summer, except it's not as hot, and there's not like a crap ton of mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I agree.
The fall, because spring is too bright for me, and it's the same weather. And the fall is cloudy.
Introvert or extrovert?
I like to think I'm an extrovert. I mean, I used to be an introvert, but, doing a lot of this business stuff and being a cashier and whatnot, I've just become more open.
For sure.
I'd agree with Jacob. Same for me.
Awesome. What is your favorite color?
Red.
I like orange and lavender.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, it's a taco. I can tell
I
you,
love that.
a hot dog is a taco because of the way you hold it and you fold it.
Okay,
I love
great.
that.
Yes, a hot dog's a sandwich.
Okay, great. We have 2 conflicting answers. I love it. What is your favorite social media platform to use?
Does YouTube count? Is that still considered
I think
social?
so,
I
yeah.
think so.
Who's your favorite YouTuber?
My favorite YouTuber right now, it's this guy known as Emp Lemon. He does these kind of cartoonish documentaries.
Oh.
One of his most popular ones is There Will Never Ever Be Another Show Like SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so interesting the way
Yeah.
he evaluates the show and its, I guess, cultural impact.
I love things like that, so I'm definitely going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
So it's EMP Lemon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Isaac, what about you? What's your favorite social media platform?
Probably Google Hangouts.
Okay, interesting. Hanging out with friends?
Yeah, that's
Especially
where I
during the
talk to my
pandemic.
friends mostly.
I
Awesome.
love how this just illustrates how you can be raised in the same family and still have such polar opposite likes and things like that. I mean,
sure.
obviously, if you and your siblings all got interviewed, you'd all have a different answer as
Absolutely.
well. But I think it's a fun little sociology.
He's a
experiment.
nasty longhorn.
We'll have to have them come back in a couple years and see where they're at with
Yeah.
the business and in college and
and
whatnot.
what their new likes and dislikes are.
So what was the first step for y'all to get the business started?
I mean, y'all had the idea on a camping trip. We know that. But then when you got back to civilization, what was the first thing that you guys started to do to kind of implement this?
I think creating the products, not physically, but just writing everything down and
Recipes
trying
and stuff?
to see how it would go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, flavor combinations.
Did y'all have a big hand in which combinations of flavors there would be?
Oh, it was all the children that made all the flavors.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were at the dining table and we were there from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. just writing stuff down and thinking, okay, what goes with this bursting boba? What goes with this tea flavor? And creating the names was a lot of fun too.
Mm-hmm. Shark bait, obviously.
bait,
That
mhm.
I mean, ooh ha ha. I mean, I just think about
we were laughing a lot about that one.
That's such a nice image of, and that's why we like to do this podcast, is so that way the customers of whatever business we're interviewing can really get to know the background. And that's just such a nice image, because we'd had a very similar experience in creating Standpipe Coffee House here in Lufkin. Just all of us sitting around deciding what different combinations of flavors would
in
sound
our
good
kitchen
together.
trying out the different, so a lot of coffee distributors sent us samples to try out because they wanted our business to buy them as wholesalers, and I remember the entire crew and management staff was in our kitchen trying out the different products and going, okay, how are we gonna, what recipes are we going to use? Is this, we're going to have these signature drinks, and there are going to be 4 or 5 of them, and those are going to be the big things. And then you have obviously regular coffee and tea and things like that. But
a lot of people don't think about that process.
Yeah,
a lot
I mean,
of, it's just not something that you typically
it's a
think
giant
about.
brainstorming session.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun too.
And you're kind of thinking,
Yeah.
okay, what flavors go together best? So yeah, we had basically a very, very similar experience when we were starting the coffee shop. Just that everybody's sitting around going, well, hey, wouldn't this and this flavor taste really good together, or hey, wouldn't this be a fun name, obviously with the theme of our coffee shop, we had a little bit more serious names, but that would have been fun to have a shark baked drink.
Did you try all the coffees and stuff when? Yeah, you
Yep.
must have gotten sick of coffee.
I mean, it
Maybe.
was a weeks long process, because obviously if you sat down and drank that much coffee in one day, you'd probably die.
Absolutely.
That's so funny to mention, because when we first got down all the flavors, we just made them all in a day and tried them all.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Oh.
Yeah, I got nearly sick of boba on that day.
Oh my
really.
goodness! Did y'all not have the biggest stomach ache afterwards?
I didn't,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
think everyone else did.
It took
goodness.
us several weeks because it was several different type of distributors, and we were, okay, we'll try from this particular place today, and then mixing the drinks a certain way or trying different combinations of things. If we had done it all in one day, I think we'd have all been like
crazy or in the ER.
that would have been too much.
That actually brings up a great point, inadvertently, but did y'all have to try out different distributors, or did you have one picked out immediately for, your popping boba, your tapioca, the different things like that? Did you already have one picked out, or did you try different ones like we did?
We tried a couple different wholesale distributors. The one for boba we use predominantly is Bosun, mostly because they have a warehouse in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And sometimes when we're running low on something and the delivery's not going to be fast enough, I'd drive to Houston.
See, we used local-ish distributors as well. Our supplier is in Tyler. It's kind of the same situation. If we run low and delivery's going to be too slow, you can just hop in a car and go pick it up versus, coming from another state. So, and they roast all their beans and everything in-house there, so it was very fresh made.
I'm noticing a lot of similarities, but
Yeah.
maybe it's because coffee shop and boba shop similar
It's
deals.
a similar principle, at least. Let me ask you guys this. When you were getting started, and in addition to creating a menu, which can be fun and challenging at the same time, was there anyone who was kind of already in the restaurant business that you and your parents went to for advice? Like, hey, we're going to do this. What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the, things we absolutely need to do? Was there someone like that for you guys, or did y'all just have to sort of figure it out on your own?
Well, actually, the previous business before Bubbles and Ducktails at that building was Knuckle Sandwich, and before that it was the bike shop. But my dad, not many people know this, but he helped out. He helped out start Knuckle Sandwich
He
and
was
helped
a
out
partner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he knew it. I'd
He'd been in the
just
food
a bit about
business
it.
a little bit longer. Okay, so you kind of learn from experience and something like that whenever you've already helped out in a different business. So running a business isn't always rainbows and butterflies.
Or bubbles and ducktails, I guess.
Or bubbles and ducktails, yes. And sometimes there's obstacles that you're going to encounter along the way, and things that will challenge you. We've kind of already talked about starting a business in the middle of a pandemic, but what are some other things that wouldn't necessarily normally be like, oh yeah, that's a big challenge, but it's been something that you besides not having a drive-through, because we've also had that issue at Standpipe, not having a drive-through really can hurt you. But what other things, like things that you just didn't even think about, and then as they kind of came up, we're like, oh, we're going to have to figure this out.
One thing I had a lot of trouble with was the point of sales, and so
those can be really confusing.
Oh, definitely.
I set up the whole thing by myself during
Wow.
that, I guess, extended summer after spring break. And it was a lot of headache. I would be there from like 6 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. just trying to get it set up and so it wouldn't crash 100 times a day.
Yeah, that's difficult.
And that's another thing that you don't necessarily like. You obviously need a point of sale system. That's how you run credit card transactions and things like that. But you don't think about some of the things that happen along. Technology sometimes isn't always our friend, and will crash and burn. But yes, and some those things aren't necessarily like always
There's so many
user
different
intuitive.
Yeah, there's so many different ones you can use as well.
And it can be confusing. You're just like overwhelmed. Like where do I even start? It's like it needs like a whole point of sale for dummies book that comes with it.
How long did it take you to end up, like how many days or weeks did it take you to set up a point of sale system?
To get it running smoothly, I'd say about a month or a month and a half.
Yeah, for sure. And I imagine you were 17 at the time, if you're 18 now. Wow, that's incredible that at such a young age you were already doing something like so complicated as setting up a point of sale system. That's incredible.
Are you like the tech savvy one in the family? Is that why you were elected to do all that, or?
I'd say we're about equal.
Yeah.
And I just I get up earlier, so.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep, that can be a deciding
But
factor.
he also did a lot of tech stuff. Like tell them about the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, while he was working on the point of sale system, my dad wanted me to help build a website for.
Okay.
And the website looks really good. So
Yeah.
I'm impressed that you built that. That's
And
incredible.
It's very like clean and well laid out.
It's very
It's not very
user-friendly.
busy. Like
Yeah.
I like that. I like to go to a website and my eyes aren't like running all over the place.
It turns out it's really it's much easier than people expect, especially with all the website templates like Wix or
Squarespace.
Weebly or Squarespace. Another obstacle that we had other than the pandemic was the expiry of foods and how much food we should order
Definitely.
in a rotation. And that's a big problem we had in the first few months.
That is always, yes, with any food service business or drink beverage service business, the knowing how much inventory to keep on hand, especially things that were going to go bad after a period of time. For us, it's milk, gallons and gallons and gallons of milk. But how much milk do we need in a day? How much are we going to use? Well, when your business hasn't been established and you don't have that steady flow of customers, you don't have that baseline, how do you know? And ordering product can become this like calculus problem that you're trying to figure out. Did you guys see a lot of waste in those early months? I know we did.
I think we usually underbought, and so it was a lot of, sorry, we're out of this or out of something else.
Yeah.
With milk, we were a little luckier to be next to Kroger,
Right there.
just to drive.
Yeah.
So
We saw a lot of waste with the tapioca pearls. A ton of waste.
What's the shelf life for something like that?
1 day.
Oh.
It once it's cooked, 1 day. Even if you refrigerate it.
That's just crazy to me, but I totally understand it
So
too.
so take us through the process. If with boba tea, if you're having to make something like that's only got a 1 day shelf life, so what does a day look like? You guys get there at what time?
So usually the manager who cooks the boba gets there 8:30, right? 8:30, and the first thing they do is they get really the pots and pans to boil the tapioca, and they get it boiling, and then they start setting up everything else.
Gotcha.
And with the tapioca, we leave it to them to estimate how much we'll need it through the day, and they've become really good at it. Like, we haven't had that much waste anymore.
Yeah. Now that you probably have a steady stream of clientele and regulars
Yes,
that come
ma'am.
in,
What's your busiest day?
Probably
Saturday.
Saturdays are our
Yeah.
busiest time.
That makes sense.
Do you guys have, it's been a year. Do you have any like favorite memories of this particular process so far?
Making the names was very fun. Even though Jacob, he made probably 99% of the names. I don't honestly go to say he made 100% of them. That was really fun. And back in the early days when we were making rolled ice cream, that was pretty fun.
I love rolled ice cream.
Yeah.
I'm sad that y'all don't do that.
Yeah, we discontinued it because it's so hard to make it consistently because you have to teach everybody. And even my work,
It's like a skill. It's
yeah,
like
it really is a skill. Even my work is so inconsistent, and I'd like to say I was one of the ones that had learned it from the beginning. And we also had supplier problems with the rolled ice cream too, so it was just a hot mess.
Sometimes when you see that as an issue, you got to go, as much as I love it, it's kind of a drain on the financial side of the business, and you got to cut it loose. I mean, we there for a while at the very beginning, we were serving, lunch items. And we were getting them from outside of our shop. And so you're paying a lot of money, and some of it went to waste. A lot of it did. And now they do lunch, but it's all made in-house and made to order. And so it makes it a little bit less financially draining. So in the beginning, it was like, this is too much. We've got too many things going on.
Yeah.
We have to scale back to a much more simple menu.
It's interesting to see how the differences between Standpipe and Bubbles and Ducktails,
But then-
because they did the opposite. They had to increase,
Right.
and we had to decrease.
Right. Well, and two, coffee shop is, like you said, Starbucks, we kind of were riding on the coattails of that. People are more inclined to go to a coffee shop that just serves coffee or drink-based things, and then we added in, as we got stabilized, back pastries, and then now there's like a full lunch menu that you can order from. So you know, it's interesting too because we started that business 10 years ago. Things were
My
very different
goodness.
then, you know.
It
and
really has
so-
been 10 years, huh?
Yeah, 10 years.
We're hoping that
on
we can have
Wednesday.
you back in 10 years and you can
In
tell
10
us
years?
about
That
how
would be
far
amazing.
Bubbles and Ducktails has
That'd be
progressed.
great.
What is the best, on that note,
Yeah.
what is y'all's best selling items? Obviously, I'm sure the bubble tea is very, very popular.
The chicken tenders.
Chicken tenders.
Really?
Look, y'all's menu looks really delicious.
Yeah, it does. Maybe for our next Friday lunch, we'll have to order some Bubbles and Ducktails.
That's coming all the way from NAC, though.
True.
Somebody'd have to go get it.
Well, then maybe Ro and I will go. So what have been some of your biggest achievements or successes or moments that have made you proud since starting Bubbles and Ducktails?
I think an achievement that we have is whenever we get new customers, I just love seeing them, their eyes light up when they pop their first boba drink, you know, and it's just a lot of excitement because they're like, okay, how do I do it? I don't want it to go everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Being
I'm-
involved with the clients or the customers and watching them, especially if somebody comes in and they don't know anything about boba tea,
Yeah.
they're like, tell me what's good. And then you recommend something and then they love it. You know, I thought that was always a fun thing about working at the coffee shop. Was be like, well, I don't really drink coffee. What's good here? And you're just like, well, what do you like typically?
As a matter of fact, 2 days ago was our 1 year anniversary. So
Oh,
I'd
nice.
say doing 1 year of business, since I believe the statistic is like 60% of businesses fail in the first year.
Yeah.
And knowing that we've made it at least just 1 year,
Yeah.
that's something to pride yourself
No,
upon.
definitely. And during these crazy times, you know, to have that, I'd definitely say that's a huge achievement for anybody because there were so many established businesses that were struggling, you know, and still to this day are having issues, you know. So I think that's, you know, that's great. What's the best part of your job and what's the worst part of your job? Well, actually, why don't you tell everybody before we get into that what your specific tasks are at the shop? Jacob, what do you
So,
do normally?
Usually what I do is they usually call me whenever there's issues with the POS, but when I'm actually there to work, I usually fry the chicken.
Yeah?
And so
Okay, chicken fryer. All right, good.
For
Isaac?
me, they usually call me in when when I have to add something to the website, or if we have problems with the menus on DoorDash or Uber Eats, I work with those. Then when I'm usually at work, I try to do the bubble tea because I believe I'm really proficient in the bubble tea. It's one of the easier jobs. But yeah.
Nice. And so what's your favorite, Jacob, what's your favorite thing about
My
what
f-
you do?
my favorite thing about what I do is when I'm frying the chicken, it's just going fast. I love. Well, I mean, of course you can't.
You can't rush
you
the process.
can't rush
Yeah.
the chicken, or else it's gonna end up raw. But when I say going fast, is I'll have the chicken set, and then I'll take out the boxes, and I'll start frying fries, and then another order comes in, and then I'll start frying more chicken, more fries, getting out more boxes,
It's like a
organizing
game,
everything.
right?
Yeah,
Like-
and it's stressful, but the adrenaline, it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It feels great.
It
Yeah.
feels good. It keeps me awake. You know, it's a really fun part of work for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
For some of the other crew members, they're like, "Oh, I hate frying chicken because it just smells." You know,
Yeah.
I hate touching the chicken and having the batter, but that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you, Isaac? What's your favorite thing about your job?
When someone orders a black pearl. So the black pearl is one of our originals, our customs, and it's the tea, the milk, and the tapioca pearls. So there's no flavoring. So I don't have to put it in the mixer, and it's literally just a minute of just boom, I'm done.
The
with
easiest
that
one to
It's
make,
the
right?
easiest
You
one
just
to make.
throw all the stuff in
That's
there
my
and boom,
favorite
here you go.
when someone orders that.
Awesome.
So easy.
What's the worst part of the job? Cleaning the bathrooms?
Cleaning the bathrooms does not compare to whenever I'm setting up something new, especially when it was during the school days. We have a loyalty program now
Okay.
in which
Yes.
you know you get points based off of when you buy from our shop, and
Sure.
you know you plug in your account right. But oh man, I had to get up at like 4 every morning to get there early so I could come back home and bring both of us to school.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, that stunk.
Yeah.
But when it starts working, it's
Very satisfying, I'm sure.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah. Getting up at 4 a.m. is never fun.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely agree with that. Isaac, what about you?
Well, one of the worst parts of the job is when I'm making a boba order and there's like 17 different orders, so I feel bad for the people that are waiting 10 minutes for a boba drink. And then another worst part of the job is cleaning the frying baskets. That is just really difficult.
Time consuming.
It's time consuming. Yeah.
Tedious. Yeah. Cleaning anything that you're using in food making or drink making, because you have to adhere to certain, health code standards, can be a lot to do and gross at the same time.
What aspect of your business has taught you the most about yourself? I mean, obviously y'all are very young, so I'm sure that this has been a very learning experience in various ways.
Talking to customers has let me know that, I can be the more open person, because like I was talking about earlier, I used to be a lot more introverted, less likely to talk to others or to, engage in a conversation. I mean, if you saw me back in 2020, taking orders, I'd just be like, hey, yeah, welcome.
Social
welcome.
anxiety is through the roof, right?
But it's just helped me know that, there's nothing bad can happen.
Yeah.
When you're just talking to someone. So.
Good deal. Isaac, what about you?
Sorry, what was the question?
The question was, what aspect of your business has taught you the most about yourself?
At the beginning of the business, I wasn't very good at communicating with other crew members, and even my dad sometimes, since he's basically the owner, he's the big CEO, he's the big man. And right now, I'm definitely better at communicating, but early on, it's really hard because sometimes you just don't want to do anything.
For sure.
Well, when you're on a crew of people, having that synchronicity, I guess, where everybody works together as moving parts. I know at the coffee shop, the area behind the bar where all the drinks and things are being made is kind of a tight space. And so you kind of have to work, when you're working with other people in a small space, getting that rhythm of working together. I mean, that's a challenge, I think, in any time. It's hard to, especially with people you maybe don't know as well, or family, you can make another layer of difficulty. So yeah, I would definitely say that would be a thing for me to say, like, communication with my teammates can be a troublesome thing sometimes. So
what advice would you have for others who want to start their own business, or more specifically for young people who are in business like you two?
One piece of advice I'd give young people wanting to start their own business is, have that passion and drive for it, but also be open, to the opinions and feedback of others, so you can really learn and adapt and, change with the customer, but also keeping your love for what you do intact.
Yeah, definitely. Isaac, what about you?
A piece of advice is make a habit of doing something at least each day, because just one thing a day, that builds up to be a lot of things a week, a lot of things a month. Just being open is really good, but I think a habit is also good. Yeah.
What was the best advice that you received when you started out?
I think
any pearls of wisdom your father gave you, since he's already kind of been in the business?
Yeah, he's always telling us to adapt, and that's why we're still open, and that's also why we have chicken tenders now.
Very good. Adaptability. That was the big thing last year when we were interviewing small businesses, was, having to adapt to what was going on, or pivot was another word that we heard a lot, just changing direction because things weren't working. So
for sure. Isaac, do you have any? What was the best piece of
advice?
advice?
Definitely adapt is the best piece of advice.
For sure.
Being flexible.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing, just really in any industry that you're in.
Or in life, really. Being able to adapt.
Yeah, it's just a good life lesson. What does the future hold for you guys? Are y'all going to expand? Are you going to add to the menu? I mean, your parents are losing you guys this fall to college, so they're going to be hiring maybe some new people. Like, what's on the horizon for you guys?
Well, I don't really know what's in what the future holds for us. Hopefully we can make it a stable business, and yeah, I can't tell.
Keep going. Just keep going, right?
Yeah, just keep going, you know.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, that's really, no one can tell what the future is going to be. And so having that just desire to actually just keep moving forward, I think is a good thing. Why don't you guys tell everybody where they can find your physical shop and where they can find you on the World Wide Web?
All right. So you can find the Bubbles and Ducktails store on 109 East College Street in Nacogdoches, Texas. And you can find us at bubblesandducktails.com and on socials like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And it should just be Bubbles and Ducktails, right, for all three of those?
Isaac's nodding his head yes. Okay.
Perfect.
So that's where, if you guys want some boba tea or some chicken tenders or wings or really just a fun atmosphere, you guys should go check them out. We thank you both for coming on and talking about this delightful business. It makes me smile every time I hear its name.
It was
Yeah.
a pleasure.
So thanks for taking time out of your busy day.
And thank you for being our youngest guests.
Yeah, that's fun. I love
Thank you
this.
guys.
I
This
love
has probably been the coolest thing I've done.
Awesome.
Like this summer.
Thank you
You
so
can be
much.
like, we're podcast professionals now.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned something new. I hope you had fun listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Do you have a story to tell? We want to hear it. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast and share your story, contact us on our website at PaynePoints.com or any of the social media linked on our website. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. We'd appreciate a review, a like, or a comment to let us know what you think. You can find all of our podcasts linked on our website under the podcast tab. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we want to wish everybody a wonderful day.